Good Sunday afternoon, everybody. It's a beautiful day outside, September 23rd, 2018. Yesterday was my mom's birthday, and she turned 60 years old. Now, she doesn't know that I'm going to throw her a little birthday party, and I've got some stuff that I'm wanting to show you what I'm making today, so I want you to come along with me and enjoy the ride. Now, this is a picture of my mom here sitting against this cappuccino can. This was taken when she was a lot younger, and it's a beautiful picture of my mom, and wishing my mom a belated birthday. And let's get with it. Now, I'm going to start off by making a cake. Now, I've never made a cake on my YouTube channel, so this is my first time. I've not made a cake in quite some time, so I want to show you one of my favorite. Now, there are so many versions of chocolate cakes, and everybody has got their favorite, and I'm going to make a chocolate cake from scratch. Now, if you don't have a fancy stand mixer like this, you could just use a regular mixer. I just bought this one for Mom for Christmas, probably about maybe 13, 14 years ago. It's getting a little old, and I'm planning on getting her another one for Christmas this year. Now, in the bowl, one thing that you need to pay attention to and make sure that all of your ingredients are at room temperature. Now, this last night before I went to bed, I left out the butter, the unsalted butter, overnight at room temperature, and that way it'll be soft and ready to go. This morning before I went to church, I laid out 4 eggs and also 1 cup of whole milk. I lay that out. You just want to make sure that everything is at room temperature, and then that way your cake will turn out very well. So in this bowl, I've got 2 cups sugar and 2 sticks of unsalted butter, and I'm going to, well, it would do me well if I plug it. You want to start off slow, and you want to let this cream for just a couple of minutes. Now I'm going to let this cream for a couple of minutes, and I want you to stay tuned. I'm going to put some eggs in. Alright, notice that the sugar and the butter have come together very nicely, and that's what you want to do. Now I'm going to add 4 eggs, one at a time. Now I've broken my eggs into this bowl to make sure that I didn't have a bad egg. You sure don't want a bad egg in your cake. Add 1 egg at a time to make sure it is well incorporated. Now, let me suggest that you get a rubber spatula and just scrape down the sides of the bowl. I'm going to crank up the speed just a little bit. Let that go for a little bit. Scraping down the sides of the bowl. I may have to stop this for just a minute. It's very important, you want to scrape down the sides of the bowl regardless if you're using this kind of mixer or just a regular hand mixer. That way you want to get all of the ingredients incorporated. Alright, there we go. It's coming along very nicely. Now I'm going to let this go for about a minute or two, so I want you to stay tuned. I'm going to add some vanilla, and I'm going to talk about the milk and my dry ingredients. Now I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. Don't use that fake stuff. Use the real thing. I know this little bottle right here cost me about $4, but I'll tell you what, it is well worth it. Well worth the price. Now, notice that everything just came along very well. Now, I want to talk to you about my dry ingredients there for a second. I'm going to turn this off and explain to you what I got going on right here. Now, it's very important that you sift your dry ingredients. Now, you can find this at your local retail store. They come in a round shape, but I got a square shaped one right here. A lot of places you can get them for about $1 at one of those dollar store places. Now, it's very important that you sift your ingredients. Now, in this bowl, I've got 3 cups of cake flour. Now, you can find cake flour. It's in the red and white box at your local grocery store. I got 3 cups of that, 1/2 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder. I've got 3 teaspoons of baking powder and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. If you don't have cake flour, you can use just plain flour. Now, don't use, whenever I make a cake, I use plain flour. I hardly ever use self-rising flour, because if you use self-rising flour, it just don't turn out really good. But I've got 3 cups of cake flour. I've got 1/2 cup of cocoa, and I've got 3 teaspoons of baking powder, and then a teaspoon of salt. Now, I'm sifting this in this bowl to make sure that everything is well combined. Now, you can do a lot better job than what I did. You can take your hand, take this, and just bump it against your other hand. And I want to show you here in just a second what it looks like. All right, notice that I have sifted everything. Everything is well combined. And this is what it looks like when I got it all sifted. You do not want that in your cake batter. You don't want to eat a lumpy cake, if you catch my drift. So I'm going to discard that. Now, this is extremely important. Now, I've got 1 cup of whole milk. Now, on low speed, I'm going to alternate my dry ingredients and the milk. Low speed, my milk. What you want to do, you want to repeat this process, and you want to end with the milk. You do not want to overdo the batter, because you'll end up with a bread. You don't want bread, you want a cake. Low speed, and I know that I'm making a mess all over the place over here, but that's part of baking a cake. Notice I am switching back and forth from my dry ingredients to my milk, adding a little bit at a time. That's what you want to do. I add the rest of the milk in here. Then I'm going to add the rest of the dry ingredients. And I'm going to say that that is enough right there. You don't want to overdo the batter. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the paddle and everything and finish stirring the batter with this rubber spatula. I've already got my 13 by 9 by 2 cake pan greased and floured. I use shortening, and I just greased it very well and flour it so your cake, so my cake won't stick. Now, I'm going to show you the finished product here in just a minute, so give me time, and I want you to stay tuned. All right, I got it in my 13 by 9 by 2 pan, and I spread it out evenly. Now, what you want to do, you just want to tap it like that, make sure that there are no air bubbles in here. Now, I'm going to put it in a preheated 350-degree oven, and I'm going to bake this for about 30 to 35 minutes, or until when I insert a toothpick in the center, and when I do, the toothpick will come out clean. That is to let me know that the cake is done. Now, I want you to stay tuned. I'm going to do a second video of Mom's birthday party, and I'm going to show you some sandwiches I'm going to be making, or some salads that can be turned into sandwiches that you can put in between two slices of bread is what I'm trying to say. So I want you to stay tuned for the second video.